Hello, everyone. I am Earlecia Rochelle, the National Ambassador for St-Germain, and welcome to Salon St-Germain. This is going to be all about tips and tricks on how you can elevate cocktail moments at home. Now, this is an evolution of Maison St-Germain, which some of you might remember, a summer soiree really to celebrate the harvest of 1,000 elderflowers, which go in every bottle of St-Germain. But this year we wanted to do something really special. Obviously, the holidays are a little bit different this year. We may not be able to see our family and friends, and celebrating might look very different this year. So we wanted to bring you some inspiration for you to really be able to create special moments right from your home. Now, in past years, we have worked with creative visionaries to really help us bring 1,000 elderflowers to life. This year is no different, but we have two incredible creatives that I've partnered with to create these beautiful moments of joy right in your own home. So I'm going to be joined by renowned interior designer Sasha Bikoff and everyone's favorite plant stylist, Hilton Carter. So let's get started. Sasha, Hilton, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hey everyone, I am Hilton Carter, Plant Stylist here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I had such a great time working with these wonderful, creative women here. And I just can't wait to show you how plants and florals, bringing them into your space can really make a space feel more lush, alive, and just vibrant, especially during the holiday season. So I'm really excited to show you all that.
Hi, I'm Interior Designer Sasha Bikoff from New York City, and I am here to help you create the most beautiful 1920s avant-garde tablescapes for your at-home soirees for the holiday season. I can't wait to show you what we've come up with. It is sure going to inspire all of you and think about decorating for the holidays a little differently, not in the typical traditional way. So Earlecia, let's see what you've come up with for our 1920s Art Deco cocktail, the first cocktail of the evening, the welcoming cocktail, a big moment.
Big moment. Hello everyone, I am Earlecia Rochelle, the National Ambassador for St-Germain. Welcome to my home. Come on. Salon St-Germain was created to inspire unique interpretations of home design and cocktail moments. It's very much about creators coming together in collaboration and influencing each other's styles. For this first installation, I've had the pleasure of working with Plant Stylist Hilton Carter and Interior Designer Sasha Bikoff to curate 3 distinct themes for different cocktail occasions. For a welcome moment, I have styled a martini bar in my entryway, giving you a little bit of Art Deco decadence. When you walk through the neighborhood of Saint-Germain-des-Prés, you will notice the beautiful streamlined architecture. That architecture is the inspiration for the bottle of Saint-Germain. So what are we drinking on? Well, I'm having a deco martini. This is a lower ABV martini using a split of gin, sherry, and Saint-Germain. A perfect twist to a classic favorite. Every good bartender knows that setting the ambiance is everything. And for me, it's all about creating dedicated spaces for your cocktail making experiences in your home. So I love using a salon table, but you can use a console, you can use a bar cart. It's really all about having that space that you love creating cocktails at. Investing in good pieces really makes the difference. I am absolutely in love with this beautiful cut glass beverage dispenser. Today I'm using it as a martini fountain, but you can honestly use it for any cocktail you desire. This moment is all about the martini, and what would the martini be without garnishes? So here I have a range of edible flowers. One of my favorite is the oyster flower, the perfect accompaniment to a martini. I also have the traditional, so I'm doing caperberry instead of an olive. And then of course we can't forget about pickled onions. So you know how to make your martini. You have your beautiful garnishes, but what are you putting it in? Well, glassware is one of the most dynamic ways that you can really add beauty and flair to your bar cart. I absolutely love these martini glasses. It really gives you this Art Deco decadent vibe, and it's the perfect vessel for that martini that you just made. All right, so let me walk you through how to make the deco martini. As I said in the vignette, it's all about a lower ABV martini. I love this martini because it really has the perfect aromatics and this perfect floral balance that I think is quite unexpected when you think about a martini. So I'm going to do 1 ounce of dry gin. Today I'm using Bombay. Then I'm going to do 1 ounce of sherry. You could use Fino, you can use Manzanilla. You definitely want to do a drier, more briny sherry. Then we're going to do a 1/2 ounce of Saint-Germain. This cocktail is so aromatic. I think it's the perfect cocktail moment, cocktail, because it really just sets the tone for a beautiful deco evening, which is why I chose it as the welcome cocktail. Then I'm going to do just a couple dashes of orange bitters. Just bring it back to that classic version of a martini. Simply stir and get it nice and chilled. Martini should be served super cold, and you really need that dilution to bring the balance to the cocktail. Then I am going to strain in my martini glass. Oh, that smells so delicious. And I'm feeling a little bit of brininess today. So I am going to do a caperberry, but I have some edible flowers, and you really can offer any garnish that you really would like to have. That's the best part of a martini. So voila, there you have it, the deco martini.
Earlecia.
I need a little sip.
Wow.
Cheers. Cheers.
That is amazing. Amazing. I really need one of those right now. I'm kind of jealous. Look at you, shining over there. Now, I mean, oyster flowers, that's pretty special. You really classed it up. I love that. Now, when it comes to garnishes, I love that you have all these different garnishes out for your martini party right there. But when it comes to edible flowers, how long have you been using edible plants for garnishes?
I've been experimenting with edible plants throughout my bartending career. Certainly, being the national ambassador for St-Germain, I really started to dig deeper into edible flowers. But I think with anything, just like a cook is constantly finding new spices, new ways to use flavor, really getting more information and finding different kinds of flowers and plants to use, like the oyster flower, really did help me expand how I could add different flavors to cocktails. So I really love using edible flowers and edible plants in my cocktails. I think it's an unexpected twist to a garnish. And the thing about edible flowers, people often think about it just as a beautiful addition to a spring or summer cocktail, but with the oyster leaf and oyster flowers, as you saw, they actually have quite a savory flavor profile. So you really can use edible flowers throughout the seasons, and it's really fun to dig in and find different ones. It's been really exciting, but I have to say I was super inspired to use botany and to use something really fresh and green by working with you, Hilton. So thank you for that.
Of course, I love it. Now, I love plants. And when it comes to loving plants, it's kind of hard to watch someone eat your friends, So, but I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide here when it comes to this cocktail. I'll let you have all the edible plants you possibly can have for your cocktail. Thank you.
There's no plants were harmed in the making of this cocktail moment.
Well, Earlecia, I think that there's nothing more fabulous than walking into a soiree and having a martini bar, especially a deco martini bar at your service with beautiful little dishes of garnishers and everything. I would say that my favorite part of this whole setup are the cute little petite, elegantly shaped martini glasses. I mean, they seem like they're the perfect proportion. And I just wanted to ask you about that, how that affects the drink and why you chose kind of a smaller glass.
Absolutely. Well, we wanted to keep it really to the time period. And in the 20s and 30s, we were drinking smaller type of martinis, usually served in a Nicanor or a smaller V-shaped martini. You don't see the big martini glass really showing up into the 80s. So I really think that it's such a delicate, beautiful way to serve a martini. I also am quite a fan of a cold martini. I think that's a important element of a martini. So the smaller shape really does help you to keep your cocktail cooler because you don't have as much liquid to try and sip on. So I think it's just the perfect way to have a martini in just a beautiful, nice sized glassware.
Totally. And you have the dispenser so you can refill at any moment. It's just so convenient.
Exactly. And the dispenser is really to just help you in terms of entertaining so that, just like when you cook dinner and you're hosting, you don't want to be slaving over the stove and not able to interact with your guests or be able to sit down and just have those conversations and moments with your family and friends. So the dispenser is just such a beautiful, elegant way, but also an easy way to have the cocktail already prepared and people really can help themselves. And this cocktail was really inspired by you, Sasha, because I know you are a lover of martinis.
I am a lover of martinis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I will say that cut glass dispenser is clutch. I mean, it really does elevate the entire, I will say, bar cart when you have that there. So I appreciate that, and I'm definitely going to make sure I utilize the one that I have now more often, for sure.
Absolutely. I
love it. Now, I was really excited about this moment here and trying to utilize, I would say, plants in my, I would say, theme when it comes to Art Deco. So let's take a look at how I utilize greenery in the Art Deco theme.
Hey, didn't see you there. Don't mind me, I'm just bringing in some wood for the fire. Welcome to my holiday party. I'm Hilton Carter, plant and interior stylist, and some might say, overall, just a cool dude. For someone who has made a name for himself in the plant world, you might think it's a bit, odd that I chose to be in this Art Deco setup. You might think that, why would I be a big fan of the Art Deco movement? Well, it has deeply inspired me in the way that I have styled and brought in plants into my home. I'm a big fan of those geometric shapes, those straight lines. The movement is just perfect for me. And I've used that opportunity, you might see, in the way that I have styled my plants for my welcome cocktail moment. It's the holiday season, and I've constructed some Art Deco decorations that are a bit different and much cooler than your traditional evergreen decor. I wanted to make that welcome something you would not want to forget, something that would make everyone want to stay for the party, but not too late. I don't want you staying in my home all night. I wanted that moment to be different than every other moment at the party. I wanted to create a DIY floral wreath that could sit over that bar cart, that table, that setup that you created that welcome moment for, so it can make it bigger, brighter, and just feel more alive. So what I thought would add to my space would be the idea of just bringing in some faux eucalyptus, some preserved ferns, and also some pine garland. Just making the moment not only just feel fresh, it can smell fresh, and then add those colors for the holiday season that we're looking for. Now, when I'm talking about this eucalyptus, this white, I thought that would look cool because it kind of fits into this more Art Deco, kind of more polished look that we're going for here. A lot of crystal, a lot of buttoned up things happening. So I thought that that look would tie in well. And then you bring in the pine garland just because of the holiday, but you spice it up with that preserved fern, making it more different, making it more unique, making it more for me. So for you, you get to do that with your own DIY floating wreath.
Hilton, you outdid yourself. I remember us ideating and trying to, think about how we were going to bring our deco moment, and you really went there with the florals. I had no idea that you were going to create this floral halo over your head. It's just absolutely stunning. But when thinking about florals, what was your inspiration? Because obviously, Art Deco is so based on materials, stones and crystal, brass and silver. How were you able to get into the greenery botany vibe to really bring this to life? Because you did it so beautifully.
Well, for one, thank you. I really appreciate that. But also we're talking about the holiday season, of course, and wreaths are one of those big things that you see towards the holidays. But I believe you can use a wreath all year round. Just depends on what type of florals, plants you're going to place on that wreath. Now, when it comes to Art Deco, it is a elegant, I will say, themed movement. And in this space, being able to add florals that can elevate, I will say, up to that movement really inspired me when it comes to the use of the faux white eucalyptus, and when it comes to the actual preserved ferns and all of the sort of elements of florals, whether it's dried or preserved or whether it's just faux. Bringing those elements in and creating that floating wreath was everything for the welcome moment, right? You want your guests to walk in and understand exactly where they should be, exactly where they should go to get that welcome cocktail that you presented everyone with there. So I believe it's just being able to really make it feel elevated, make it feel bigger, make it feel brighter, and finding the right pieces there, whether that's dried florals or live plants, can just really make something really beautiful.
And also the smell too. I mean, when I think about cocktails, especially St-Germain is super aromatic. I think how you really were able to bring that to life with this use of the eucalyptus, I'm sure it was just an incredibly evocative smell and aroma happening in your home as well.
It's really one of those things where you can't go wrong with bringing in florals or bringing in plants, especially this time of year. Like, the best part of this time of year is when you can smell all of that garland out, like through the air in homes or in stores or wherever you're going. It's that one thing that really makes you, brings you back to the fact that it's the holiday season. So I just think that it's something that when you're talking about aroma, you want to be able to brighten the space with as many different types of plants and florals as you possibly can to just really make it awesome.
I love that. You nailed it.
Love it. So Hilton, another thing that we can't ignore is the beautiful little Art Deco vase that we have on the martini bar. And I think that really elevates the martini moment because we're adding some life and some beautiful florals to that. And my question to you is, what florals do you really find Art Deco that could help elevate this Art Deco moment? And why did you go for these creamy white flowers? I mean, I was so curious how you were going to interpret Art Deco. And then I saw that you added like such an elegance to everything. And I just wanted to know like where your head was at in that sense and how you interpreted Art Deco.
For sure. I mean, honestly, I think that the idea here is to bring in that level of, I would say, refinedness, right? And I think when it comes to florals in an Art Deco movement, what tied well together for me was the calla lily. And any sort of lily, honestly, the calla lily is a real bell shape. And when it comes to calla lily, obviously it comes in different colors, but white felt more buttoned up for me. But honestly, I think those at home, anyone listening to this, if you do have plants like, let's say, a peace lily or maybe an anthurium, like a white anthurium, those sort of florals you can cut from your plants and place into vases in your home if you're going to try to mimic the Art Deco theme for the holiday. So that's really what I was looking for. Any sort of flower that could stick out. But the calla lily was one of the ones that I really felt connected to for the actual theme here. But also, Sasha, I will say the vase that you selected also had a calla lily on it.
I did that on purpose, Hilton.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. I love it. I love it. So I love that you did that on purpose. And the fact that you did that on purpose is the perfect segue for me here. It's because now we want to head out to East Hampton to see what you did, Sasha, what you did when it comes to elevating or tackling that Art Deco theme. So let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Interior Designer Sasha Bikoff, and welcome to my East Hampton hideaway. One of the most important movements to spring out of Saint-Germain-des-Prés is Art Deco, a dramatically modern machine-age style. This era was really characterized by its cut and frosted crystals, its shiny metals, which is what we have displayed here today. The black and white color palette adds an elegance that grounds the setting. The preserved florals that Hilton picked out for the entryway really took the theme to the next level. Love how this lily bowl vase balances metal backdrops and delicate florals. Earlecia's St-Germain Deco Martini also fits the scene flawlessly. A softer spin on a classic that delights guests on entry. And who doesn't love a candle trio to add a little moody romance to their fresh martini? I wouldn't blame you if you came to my house and went right for the fromage, especially when you have knives like these. As a designer, I can't help but want my tableau to look as good as it tastes.
Oh, Sasha, how stunning, absolutely stunning. So I have a question for you. You know, when it comes to French food, you will not find a French dinner that does not include a cheese plate. Like, that is just the number one thing that you have to have when you sit down to have a French dinner. And you chose such beautiful French cheese knives and the cheese forks. What kind of ideas would you have for someone who has a smaller table like myself, like a little bit smaller than your Hampton space in my Brooklyn home? How would you kind of compensate for the size in terms of really having a beautiful charcuterie cheese type of spread that you had in your beautiful kitchen?
Yeah, I think that, it's all about proportions. So, if you have to find smaller little dishes, if you have to break things up a little bit, if you have to scatter things around the table, that's all fine. I really don't think that there are any rules that we have to live by for entertaining. I think that as long as it looks beautiful, you can, keep filling up the cheese plate. You don't have to throw everything on a huge plate at a time. You can go back, you can fill it up if you have smaller plates. And I think that it's just all about finding the right proportions of dishware to your tabletop.
Great, thank you.
Sasha, let me just say, beautiful. I mean, just looking at your home and how many windows you have, are you just trying to make me jealous? I'm very concerned here. That was the goal, for you to just make me jealous of all that beautiful light you had coming into your home. But I will say, obviously, being able to tackle this Art Deco theme in a space that is just full of just natural nature, just everywhere, just beautiful. Now, people who out there who are trying to mimic this theme, are there any don'ts, absolute don'ts that you would say they should make sure that they put on their list?
Yes. So I believe that when you have a theme and you have an inspiration, you have to stick with that theme and inspiration, and you have to ride with it the entire time. So I wouldn't, get caught up in trying to hold back or trying to go and mix more traditional things into your current theme. I would just take what you have and run with it. And, we did a really good job with the Art Deco, Tablescape and our whole design here, because we stuck with this theme and we incorporated so many different elements of this theme, and we did a lot of research went into this as well. So when you have an inspiration for your tablescape, for your party, for entertaining, do a lot of research. Don't just imagine things and make things up. For us, the Art Deco movement was all about metals and was all about glitz and glamour, cut crystal, cut glass, brass, steel, chrome, black, white, creams, and that's what we incorporated into all of our holiday tablescapes for our Deco Martini moment. And that's kind of how everyone should look at their entertaining moment, as a lot of research, a lot of thought, and to just ride with your ideas.
Sasha, I really agree. And what I loved about this collaboration and working with the two of you was how deep you guys dug as far as inspiration, like how many images you pulled up as far as what we should be looking for these themes and for these moments. And it was really inspiring to see how much work went into creating these moments.
Totally. We took it to that, Parisian 1920s Gatsby opulent era. And your guests are going to walk in and they're going to be wowed. And that's what this is all about, right? Just making that statement, making those memories.
Absolutely. Well, we've had our welcome moment. Now I think it's time to settle to dinner. I can't wait to see your Cubism moment.
So you've had your welcome cocktail moment, your guests are all settled in, and now it's time to sit down for dinner. For this beautiful tablescape, I pulled from Sasha's inspiration of playful pops of color. The bold use of geometric shapes and colors reminds us of the Cubism movements. Artists like Braque and Picasso deconstructed subject matter so that you could see different angles from different perspectives. Bartenders do this all the time, not just thinking about the taste, but also thinking about the presentation, playing with textures, and using different colors in cocktails. The St-Germain Spritz, also known as the French Spritz, is a super easy cocktail to make at home. You simply take 1.5 parts of St-Germain, 2 parts of sparkling water, and 2 parts of sparkling wine. Pour that over ice and garnish it with a lemon twist. This was all about making it fun and playful and taking from Cubism's use of geometric shapes. Here I've taken colorful ice, beautiful patterned straws, and beautiful geometric glassware, really bringing the St-Germain Spritz to life.
So let's make the St-Germain spritz. Now this is a super easy spritz to make. All you need to do is take 1.5 ounces of St-Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur, which I think you know by now. You can pour things right in the glass. You don't need any extra tools. Then you're gonna do 2 ounces of a sparkling wine. I'm doing martini and rosé prosecco. You can just eyeball this, 2 ounces. Super, super easy. And then we're gonna do 2 ounces of our sparkling water. And can you believe we're almost done? Give it a little mix to make sure everything is blended in there. I have beautiful glass ice in here, so excuse the clinging. And then you don't wanna forget to just make sure that you get some beautiful fresh lemon oils right on the top of that cocktail. And voila, you have the French spritz, the St-Germain spritz.
Earlecia, I am a huge spritzer. I actually call it spritzing. I spritz all summer. I spritz in France. I spritz in Italy. I spritz on the beach. So I actually never thought of spritzing in the winter. And I just wanted to ask you how you thought of this idea to incorporate this spritz in a winter setting, and what kind of foods would you recommend pairing with the spritz? Because this tasted so delicious. It was so unique. And I got so excited from it because I only thought I could spritz in the summer. So this was like news to me.
Yeah, well, you can spritz up your spritz all year round. It's all about seasonality. What I love about the St-Germain spritz is that it's a little bit more delicate than a lot of spritzes that you'll find. So this actually works really well with different kinds of food. My suggestion would be to play around with what you are going to be preparing, and then play around with different sparkling wines and different sparkling waters. Like you could do a different flavored sparkling water, whether it be an orange or a citrus or a different fruit. And you could also do a different type of sparkling wine. You can do a pet nap if you wanted something a little bit more earthy and funky. So I think there's a lot of versatility with the St-Germain spritz, which makes it so delicious. And I think playing with those two things, the sparkling wine that you choose to use and the sparkling water that you choose to use, really gives you the ability to customize and to be able to pair that with whatever dishes you're preparing for your dinner. So, and also, of course, across seasons. So St-Germain spritz is one of the most versatile cocktails out there. And it just really makes for a great pairing.
So awesome.
I'm spritzing, I guess.
Right? We're gonna be saying it like Sasha now.
I wasn't too familiar with how to spritz. I'm not like Sasha. I never spritzed in the summer. I never spritzed in the spring or the winter. And now I'm spritzing. I'm gonna spritz for the rest of this year and into 2021. Earlecia, this is probably my new favorite drink. So thank you for inspiring me to spritz it out. I don't know if that's something, but I'm gonna make it something. When it comes to this drink, I love it. But again, when it comes to the garnish here, I love that you said lemon. I went with orange in mine. Now, when it comes to being creative and sticking to the theme, Cubism here, are there any cool techniques when utilizing garnish or ice and sticking to the Cubism theme?
Absolutely. Well, you know, we were all about really taking everything and really pushing it. So I really wanted to add in the color blocking and add in the different shapes. So that's why I used the really beautiful colored ice from MoMA and using the different citrus cutouts. So we still did the typical lemon garnish with the St-Germain spritz, but we did cutouts of different geometric shapes. So that really brought in some fun just with playing with color and texture. But you could also play with garnishes, because I know you loved orange and you really wanted to use orange with yours. I say that a citrus oil really does help bring all of the beautiful aromatics and the richness of the cocktail really does help with the spritz of the citrus. So I would say playing with different types of citruses could be one way to do a variant of garnishes. So you could do a grapefruit, you could do orange, you could do lime, and then also fresh herbs. So you are the botany man. And I think adding fresh herbs really is so beautiful in a St-Germain spritz. So thinking about what's in season, playing with rosemary, playing with maybe mint or thyme, just gives it that beautiful aromatics, but also really does play with the flavor profile. So I say it's time for you to get creative and play around, but this is definitely the cocktail to experiment with.
Well, I used a orange and went with the octagon shape there. I think you suggested using it. So I went all the way. I mean, if we're going to go with the theme, like Sasha said, you got to go all the way. So I went all the way in.
All the way.
So thank you. So I don't know if you really want to see how I interpreted the Cubism theme when it comes to the dinner moment, but I guess you're here, so you might as well take a look.
Man, what a spread we have here. I love to see the contrast between the natural qualities of my plants and all of the geometric patterns and shapes of these Cubist styled or themed pieces we have here. And they're not as far off as you might think. I mean, the plants that I have here and brought into this mix, they kind of have that sort of color, but also that sort of vibe and shape that kind of fit in here. And when it comes to plants or styling plants, when it comes to Cubist art, it's all about layering patterns or planes all in one form of art together. And that's kind of what we have here on this table spread. Just one work of art, just all laid out. So I carefully chose a plant, a planter, some dried florals, and a vase that can all fit perfectly in this Cubism theme. When it comes to the plant, I picked out a bromeliad because it has the color, the shape, not when it comes to the Cubist ideals, but because of just per color. It's kind of like a sort of rocket exploding out of the soil. As you can see, these blooms, as they come up, that reddish color, they're perfect. When it comes to primary colors, perfect when it comes to Cubism. Any sort of bright, bold colors that explode, not just off the canvas, but just off of maybe the canvas of this table. Now, I wanted to place it in the perfect type of planter, a planter that fit in Cubism based on its shape, these sort of balls on the side here, these orbs of sort. It has a nice flat color to it. Now, I did pick out a nice vase to put on the table. Now, you might want, or some might decide to put in live, fresh florals, but I decided, why not go with something that's more hard, yet still has the color when it comes to Cubism. Now, for these florals, I picked 2 fan palms, both dyed, one pink, one light green, just to add to that sort of level of color all over the table, which is really cool. I picked out 3 proteas, 2 that are gold, 1 that is red, and these bunny tails, nice little bunny tails that are dyed kind of reddish, Pinot Noir bunny tails poking out, and I'll put them in this really amazing vase here. Again, primary colors, red, yellow, blues, and just has that, this is like basically the definition of Cubism in this vase. Just something really cool, different, that fits in the theme of what we are all going for.
Amazing. Hilton, that was absolutely stunning. I actually have a question for you from one of our viewers. I'm going to read it for you now. So first question from the audience at Craft and Cocktails. Hi, Ashley Rose. My question is for Hilton. My dining table bar cart area gets medium to low light this time of year. Would love to add a potted tree or large plant with texture foliage that makes a statement, but that's not a Christmas tree. Any suggestions? I'd like to consider the whole environment for decorating for dinner parties, not just the table. So she really wants to know how to elevate her bar cart with something large and like giving all the drama, like you know how to do.
She wants all the drama. Of course she wants the drama. Now when it comes to medium to low light, that area there, it's going to be difficult to find something that's going to really thrive in that space. And I like to place our plant friends in areas where they can thrive. Now, you might want to look at a possible, I would say maybe a dumb cane. A dumb cane can tolerate medium light. I would also probably go with something more in, let's say I want to say you can probably try a variegated rubber tree. If you try a variegated rubber tree, that medium light might be great for it in that spot, but it's really difficult. Low light isn't the greatest, but if you feel like it's more leaning towards lower light, I would go with a dumb cane plant versus any sort of, I don't know, plant that wants more, I would say more light, brighter light. But you always just want to make sure that whenever you can, provide them with as much light as possible. And then once you get that big plant in that space, you can style it like you do your holiday trees. Put some lights on it, make it shine a bit more.
I love to put some lights on it. You know, I was thinking maybe you can write those names on your IG somewhere, because I know for me, I was like, I need an encyclopedia to try and figure out what plants you are mentioning right now. So that might be helpful for the audience as well.
Of course.
Amazing. But I thought the textures that you chose and the shapes that you chose were just absolutely stunning for this. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like florals or just plants on a dining table, for one, again, off top, you need to find the right light. You need to have light on that table. Of course, if you're going to have that plant live there. Now, for an event like this, some sort of party, you can bring a plant from its home onto the table for sure. So for me, I use a bromeliad, which I thought was really cool just because of the color, the texture, and shape. And shape is important there. We're talking about the Cubism theme.
And when you say light, what do you mean by light? Like traditional overhead type of lights, or specific?
I'm talking about daylight. I'm talking about daylight. So
daylight.
Let's
okay.
say in any sort of situation, if you have a dining room table that's far away from any sort of window, more than likely that's going to be low light to just not great light at all for a plant. But in a moment where you're just having guests come over, utilize the space. Your plants are fine once the sun goes down to be moved around and then become a part, let's say, of the party. So you can take a olive tree and move it over to your bar cart come the evening for your welcome moment, let's say there. But in the morning, once the party's over, once you're up and back at it, move that plant back to its spot in that really good light. So I wouldn't say place plants in areas of your home where you know for a fact that they're going to stay there and live there if they're not getting the right light. But for any moment, especially during the holidays, if you are having events, parties for the folks, the intimate parties that you're going to have, you can bring plants into areas to just make it feel more lush, make it feel more, I would say, wild in your home.
Mm-hmm. I think that, touching upon a really big trend right now are plant chandeliers. And oftentimes, we're sitting under a table with a chandelier or some kind of light pendant. So I'm wondering if you have any tips for myself and our viewers on how to incorporate plants on an actual light fixture above your dining table to create a mood and a vibe for the holidays.
Of course. Well, it all depends again. I always say it on light, but if it's just for the holidays and you have great light, why not get a little bit wild with vine-like plants that can cascade, that you can kind of hang around some of those light fixtures. That would be really cool. A lot of the Hoyas out there, love a good Hoya. Hoyas are great. They can tolerate, I'll say, medium light. And anyone who's dealing from an area that is further away, let's say your dining table and your light fixture is a bit further away from a good bit of daylight, you might want to dive into the world of pothos. A lot of pothos out there, silver pothos, golden pothos, neon pothos, so many options, choices to make depending on your color scheme of your home maybe, or your table setting.
Love it. I'm going to do that.
Go for it.
Great.
Well, talking about Cubism,
I appreciate you, Sasha. No, go for it. I was going to say, I'm glad Sasha.
I was just going to head over to East Hampton to see how Sasha interpreted Cubism.
I would love to see it. Let's go.
Most people probably think Cubism and the holidays don't have much in common, but tradition has never really been my style. It's not just about the centerpiece. It's every element that incorporates itself into the spread. And the creative brainstorm that I had with Hilton and Earlecia, we decided to showcase the different takes we had on each of these items. The color block picture spritzes up Earlecia's St-Germain spritz, which pairs so well with every course. Whether you work with spaces or spirits, color matters. If it's not obvious already, I like to take tradition and inverse it. Mismatching lacquered placemats with coasters or stacking dinner plates is an easy way to add dimension.
Sasha, so I absolutely was inspired by every piece that you chose for Cubism. I certainly brought it into what I did with the cocktails, but I have to say the mix of patterns, the vibrant colors, the stripes, the geometric, all of it was so incredible. I'm certainly a person who loves mixing and matching patterns and colors, but I know a lot of people might be a little bit more timid. So what kind of tips do you have for those who are just getting into the playing with patterns and colors?
Well, you have to remember this is holiday decor, so it's not permanent. And I think that it's important to go big for the holidays, and it's important to kind of create the drama and the theatrics and to create something unique and really to have a vision. So instead of just picking the same color placemats and the same color coasters and the same color, from the same set, I think it's more interesting to mix and match different brands, different ideas, different themes that all circulate around the same inspiration. And if you think about it, the way that I look at colors is like, if you look at a bouquet of flowers and there's red and there's pink and orange and green and purple, it works so well in a bouquet of flowers, so therefore it will work well on your tablescape. And I feel like nature is always the inspiration behind colors, and all these colors between the sky and the grass, the green grass, and maybe there's like a little red barn in the corner. They all work together, and they're going to work together in your home as well. So never fear color. And if you feel attached to a certain color, if you have a favorite color that you're constantly opting for the gray or the grayish or the cream or the white, say to yourself, I love this color, therefore I'm gonna love it on my table too. So you just gotta go for it. And remember, like, color brings a sense of joy and happiness. Like, I think that this Cubism tablescape, I think it really all kind of like brought a smile to our faces because it was just a complete fantasy of a table. So I think that that's also something that we have to remember here, that it's important to have fun with this.
Sasha, those multicolored candles really did bring a smile to my face. As the kids would say, they're lit. Actually, I don't know if kids still say that, but I did love everything you.
I say that, but
I love. Okay, well, of course. Then yes, then that makes sense. Then it was lit. I love the fact that you found so many perfect pieces for the Cubism theme. I believe those candles you got from the MoMA design store. Are there any sort of, I would say, suggestions that you would recommend for the guest here when it comes to designers or stores or just places where they can find some of these elements, some of these pieces, if they wanted to also go with some of these themes that we were showing them today?
Yeah, so I think that, I am all about, going on the hunt for vintage and for antiques, and I'm very resourceful. And I also think that there is an important, eco component to all of this. So even if you just check out Etsy, eBay, your local thrift shop, your local yard sale, you could always find these little unique knickknacks and make them work within your table. I also love incorporating family heirlooms. It's like your grandma's china is all of a sudden super chic on your tablescape with your cool geometric, candles. So I think that there's an element to, shopping vintage, but then there's also just some really cool brands that you can research, again, like on websites like Etsy. You can even find them on Instagram, of more, locally sourced artist things that are doing really unique and special things. I think that, you really need to take the time to research and to shop, because you don't necessarily have to go to your typical Crate and Barrel or West Elm or CB2. You can actually find unique pieces that are statement pieces on the table and that are going to make people talk. And I like to call them conversational pieces. And that's always fun for a party, right? When, you sit at a table and you see all these interesting things and you're like, ooh, where's that from? What's the story behind that? What's the story behind that? And with Cubism, there was a resurgence of Cubism in the 80s. So a lot of times you can find a little bit of an 80s deco vibe. You can also add that into Cubism too. It doesn't, the 1920s and 30s had that resurgence in the 80s. So that can be, brought into play as well, which is kind of what I did here.
Sasha, I loved it. I have a strange feeling, Earlecia, that Sasha is keeping some of her favorite shops designers to herself. I don't know if she is, but
she shared a few. She shared a few with us, and we actually have a shopping list where you can find a lot of these items that we chose right through our link on Eventbrite. So make sure you check those out. But I have a couple questions from the audience for all of you. Let's start with Sasha. So Sasha, I had an audience member ask, with so many different elements coming together for a welcome moment, where do you suggest starting from a decor perspective? So where are we starting? Where's the first place that we go to kind of pull the theme together?
Totally. So we started with an inspiration for our welcome drink. Our inspiration was Art Deco. And I was actually focused on finding out what Earlecia's cocktail was for this moment first, because my main concern was the vessel. What are we going to put the cocktail in? And so it kind of started with the drink. And then it, played off there. Then we need dishes for the garnishers. Then we needed a bar cart to place everything on. Then we needed to add Hilton's little bouquet moment. So it really started first with the cocktail, because we needed that one item that was going to set the tone for the rest, and that was the martini.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah, that makes so much sense. So I think at
that's
home,
why I was hounding you down for your cocktails. Like, Earlecia, what are you doing? What are we doing? I can't get to work here until I have your martini.
Totally. And I think that's a really great place for our audience at home to start. Start with the cocktail moment and maybe research where the cocktail came from or the vibe that the cocktail is giving. And then you can kind of build your theme around that. So I absolutely love that as a starting place for inspiration. Okay, so I have another question for Hilton. Hilton, someone asked, what's a good evergreen plant that I could buy and style for the holidays that would look great throughout the winter and not too over top festive, so not too holiday-ish?
Well, I am really into the idea of using topiaries. So I've been using junipers when it comes to styling for the holiday season. Obviously, like any sort of evergreen or any sort of tree like that, you're gonna have to make sure that you provide them with as much light and as much water as they possibly can get. But I will say it's going to be all about what is in your, I would say, care level. So any sort of topiary, right now, junipers, pom-poms, spirals, I'm really into.
Amazing. But we're going to get to see some surprises tomorrow. So you'll have to be here at the same time and same place to check that out. But I love that answer. Thank you. So last question that I have for the evening is for me. And it is, does St-Germain have mini bottles available? Would be a great takeaway gift for guests. It would absolutely be a great takeaway gift for guests. And yes, St-Germain does have 50 ml bottles. Obviously, you have to check with your local premium liquor store to see if they are actually in stock in your state, but we do make mini St-Germain bottles that are just a small version of our large St-Germain bottle. So again, bringing in that beautiful deco architecture in the bottle, and it is the absolute perfect takeaway for your guests. So I love that idea. So that really wraps our first virtual salon. So thank you so much for joining us for Salon St-Germain. I really hope we were able to bring inspiration for you to rethink how you can create cocktail moments and special moments during the holidays. Now we are going to be here tomorrow with another art moment that we're going to be bringing to life, another cocktail moment. So I hope you can join us tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, same time. Thank you so much for joining us again. Hilton, Sasha, thank you again for partnering with us to make this happen. And Sante, everyone.
Sante, thanks Earlecia, thanks Hilton.
Of course, thanks guys, really appreciate it. Have a great one.
Bye everyone.
Good night.
Bye.